Hi everyone, it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, I will show you how to crochet the Grape Jelly Scarf. This is a fun corkscrew scarf crocheted in two colors, and it has a fun pom-pom at either end. And for this project, you will need a 9mm end crochet hook, a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors, and two colors of super bulky yarn. I chose purple because of the grape jelly name. The photo at the beginning of this video has darker shades of purple. I'm going to do some lighter shades for this tutorial. However, feel free to use any colors that you like. Just make sure it's super bulky yarn. And if you're needing to substitute yarn, just look for a yarn that recommends the 9mm crochet hook on the yarn label. So let's get started. I'm going to begin with the lighter purple. Again, feel free to use any colors that you like for this project. And we're going to begin by putting a slip knot on our hook. To make a slip knot, wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your crochet hook, and bring up a loop. And then just tighten it onto your hook. I wanted to talk a little bit about the length of this scarf. This scarf is very customizable, and you can make it any length you like simply by just working more chains or less chains, however long you'd like the scarf to be. If you're making it for a child, obviously you would do less chains to begin. We're going to make just a short sampler size scarf. And again, when you make your starting chain as long as you would like your scarf to be, and then add 3 more chains to that, okay? So I'm going to make my starting chain short, but again, you'll make yours as long as you'd like your scarf to be. So to make a chain, wrap the yarn around your hook and bring it through the loop. So that's one, I'm going to do about 12 chains. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm just going to make mine this long. But again, make yours as long as you'd like your scarf to be. Okay? So to begin, we're going to work a double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. This loop here does not count. So 1, 2, 3. So in this chain right here, we'll work our first double crochet. To make a double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, insert it into the chain, bring up a loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. In the next chain, and every chain remaining, we're going to work 2 double crochets. So go ahead and work 2 double crochets in the next chain. That's 1 and 2, just like that. Take a little yarn off our yarn ball here. 2 double crochets in the next chain. Two double crochets in the next chain. Two double crochets in the next chain. So just keep doing this all the way across till you reach the end. And already you can see it's starting to form a little bit of a corkscrew. What happens when you make a corkscrew or curlicue, whatever you want to call it, the stitches that you're putting into the chains or into the stitches you're working lots of stitches into a space. So it kind of crowds them together and causes them to create this sort of spiral that we're getting here. Okay, so again, we're just working 2 double crochets in each chain all the way across. Obviously your scarf will be longer than this. Okay, so we've arrived at the very last chain. Just work 2 double crochets in that very last chain. Okay, so it'll look something like this to start. Next, you're just going to grab your scissors and you're going to break the yarn, and you can put your yarn aside. And then you're just going to fasten off in your first color. So this row is complete. If you go to the Flux blog and look at the written pattern, this is what I refer to as the foundation row. So the foundation row is complete. So let's grab our second color and move on to the next row. So we have our darker purple. Again, any color you like is fine. And we're just going to tie this color right on to our project. So go ahead and insert your hook into that last stitch that you worked. We're just going to simply tie it right on. There's lots of ways to join yarn on a new row. I'm just going to tie mine on. If you have a preferred method of joining your yarn, feel free to do that at this point. So just bring the new yarn through and tie it right on. Now we can weave the ends in as we go along, or you can weave them in when you're finished. Okay? I'm just going to hold them aside for now. So insert your hook back into that stitch and bring up a loop, just like that. Okay? Next, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. Okay? In that same stitch, we'll work a double crochet to begin the new row. The row in light purple in the written pattern is referred to as the foundation row. This is row 1, so we're beginning row 1. Okay? In the next stitch you come to, work 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. In the next stitch, work 2 double crochets. And we're just going to work 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way across. Okay? So I'm going to let you go ahead and do that, and we'll rejoin at the end of this row. So again, go ahead and work 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way across until you reach the end. So we're coming up to the very last stitch, and again we're just putting 2 double crochets in each stitch. Now to finish off this row, if we were to finish right here, get a little more yarn, we still have our turning chain from the previous row, so we'd have kind of this thing sticking out. So to finish off our row nicely, we're just going to work 2 double crochets in this turning chain space, and that will give us a nice finish to our row. Okay, just to finish off like that. I wanted to show you we're already getting this beautiful, again mine's shorter than yours will be, we're already getting this beautiful two-tone kind of spiral going on. So you can see when your scarf is much longer, you're going to get a lot more spirals. Okay? So let's finish up our scarf, and then I'll show you how to make the pom-poms. To finish off your scarf, you're just going to break the yarn. We can put that aside. And then you're going to take your hook and just fasten off to finish. Pull to tighten, make a nice secure knot. And then you'll take your tapestry needle. Now if you wove in your ends as you went along, you'll have less to do at this point. We're just going to take our tapestry needle, thread it, and then go in one direction. Like that, and then come in the other direction. I wanted to also mention, whenever you're working on a project that uses 2 colors and you go to weave your ends in, just be sure that your ends are being woven into the correct color. So I wove this dark purple end into the dark purple section, and you would do the same for the light purple, weave the light purple into the light purple section. That way you don't have this very visible end of a different color, traveling through your project, okay? So you just want to weave in the rest of the ends, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll rejoin in just a moment. Okay, so I wove all my ends in, so you can save these for stuffing or for the birds. And we're going to go ahead and make our pom-pom. The photo at the beginning of this video, I used my yarn leftovers to make a 2-color pom-pom using the same colors from the scarf. If you only have 1 color left, just make a solid color pom-pom, but I'm going to show you how to make a 2-colored pom-pom. So you're just going to pull some yarn out, and before you start, take a length of yarn that's about 12 inches or so, cut it and set it aside. That's how we're going to tie our pom-pom together. So you're just going to take the 2 colors, hold them together, and I don't use any fancy tools to make pom-poms. I just use my hand. So I'm going to show you how to do it that way. If you have a tool that you'd rather use, definitely feel free to use whatever you feel most comfortable using. So what I'm going to do is you're going to let the tails hang down just a little bit from the bottom of your hand, and then you're just going to take the yarn and you're just going to wrap it around and around and around, and show you a nice thick bundle in your hand. And I'm doing these 2 colors at once, and that's going to give us this two-toned effect. And it really ties, if you come back to the scarf, it really ties your scarf in nicely. Okay, so go ahead and wrap that around and around until you have a nice thick bundle in your hand. And if you just have a little bit of leftovers from your scarf, you can just use those up. That way you won't have any leftovers. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so I wrapped the yarn around my hands, and when you're using 2 strands like this, it actually takes half the time. So go ahead and cut the yarn from your yarn balls and just bring this around so that it's also hanging down like this. It'll be easier to keep track of when we tie it, okay? So then I'm going to zoom out just a tiny bit. There we go. So go ahead and take the yarn that we cut earlier. We can set this aside. You're going to carefully slip this bundle off of your hands. It's going to be very thick, and that's good. That'll make for a nice, big, fluffy pom-pom. Okay, and just hold it like that in a little bundle. And then you're going to take your strand that you cut. You're just going to tie it in the middle, just like this. And what you want to do, the trick here, is very important, is to tie this bundle as tight as you possibly can. You need your pom-pom to be nice and tightly secured because you're going to have a lot of little strands. Okay? So then just hold it with these 2 pieces of yarn that we just tied it. You don't want to cut these because you're going to use these to tie onto your scarf in just a moment. So you're just going to take your scissors and just start cutting. Just go ahead and cut all of these loops that you see. There's going to be lots of them. So just go ahead and cut all of the loops that you see. Okay? So I went ahead and cut all the loops. And I just wanted to mention too, I switched my scissors. I love using my little embroidery scissors to trim little yarn tails. But when you're cutting a whole bunch of super bulky yarn, you'll want to switch to a bigger pair of scissors. So our pom-pom looks a little wild right now. So we're going to go ahead, and I just like to hold it like this and kind of flatten it out and just give your pom-pom a little haircut. Just to get everything nice and uniform and less wild looking. So trim your pom-pom as much as you'd like it to be. You can cut it back as far as you want, or you can just give it a light trimming. So once your pom-pom is as fluffy and trimmed as you'd like it to look, you can go ahead and attach it to your scarf. Now you're going to make 2 of these, 1 for either end. And I just made 1 to show you. I also wanted to show you each one of these strands, when you fluff your pom-pom up, if we look at one of them, will start to kind of come unraveled at the top a little bit, and that's a good thing. That'll make your pom-pom look extra fluffy and puffy. So all we're going to do is put a pom-pom at either end of our scarf. So what you want to do, now if you need to use your tapestry needle to attach your pom-pom, you can thread your tapestry needle. But this yarn is pretty bulky, so I'm just going to take this last stitch that we worked and just go ahead and pull it through. And then you're just going to simply tie your pom-pom right onto the end of your scarf. And you'll want to use several nice and sturdy knots, because especially if you're making this for a child, you'll want it to stay on there when they throw it and throw it around their necks or throw it on the ground or whatever, throw it in a locker or something like that. So you'll want to, I'm just trimming a few little strands I found. You'll want to tie it on there really, really securely. And then you can just take your tapestry needle and weave in those two ends. Same way we did before. You can just come right in. I'm going to take mine down to this light purple area the best I can, so it will be hidden. And just come in the other direction to help keep that tail from popping out. Okay, so you'll just do the same for your other tail that you have, because you'll have two tails. So just do the same for that tail as well. And then just try and, if you're in a dark purple area, just try and bring it down. The pom-pom will hide a good bit of this finish work at the bottom. But just make sure your finish work, as always, is nice and neat. Because of all the time you spent crocheting your projects, you'll want your ends to be woven in neatly and everything to be tied on nice and neat to show off your project. Okay, so you can just go ahead and trim that other tail. And our little grape jelly sampler scarf is complete. Obviously, again, you'll put a pom-pom at the other end. So that is how you crochet the grape jelly scarf. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the red subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.